and enjoy a good show of good information. I always like to remind myself, at the very least, about a lot of this stuff. Today we're going to talk about bacterial infections, but I was thinking just about any of these health concerns that you may have. Don't you see how, like this, it's such a pattern? Let's say, God forbid, you're dealing with bacterial or a viral issue or a chronic health concern, whatever you might think of, right? And you go to the internet. And on the internet, you're searching that first page of the search engines. And usually, what is it you get, right? Oh, you've got this thing, whatever it may be. Diabetes, pneumonia, common cold. It's like something mysterious is always the way it pops up. It'll give you some boring details that kind of almost put you to sleep. And it'll tell you, that basically it's your body malfunctioning. Right? There's no particular rhyme or reason for it. Most of the time, the solution in many cases is, of course, check with your doctor. And what they mean, of course, on the internet, at least on that first page of most of the search engines, check with a conventionally trained doctor who has an extremely limited point of view. They don't study nutrition. They're not open-minded to, hey, maybe there's something more natural or safe that could be done to help somebody out. It's really just check with your doctor. Try to find out what medicine you must take now that you don't feel well. And then there's never any talk about success. It's only training the person looking up the information as to where they should go. First, of course, give them a little credit. They'll describe a bit about the condition. Cancer. A bunch of cancer cells collecting together and replicating out of control. Like, great, something like that. They're never going to give you anything really empowering, but they describe the condition. They make sure you know how important it is to go to the right doctor, the only place you can go. It's a monopoly, let's face it. Conventionally trained Western medical docs, at least here in the United States and most parts of the world, you can only go and see a certain type of person. Right? If you go to those others, the internet's usually, there's lots of sources will tell you, well, you could try some of these other so-called doctors, but they're going to make you feel like you're making a bad choice. So you go, you find out what medicine to take, and that's it. How can you treat? How can you manage? Today, we're going to talk about bacterial infections in about a little over 6 minutes to go before we start the show. We're going to talk a bit about the scope of the problem, probably in ways that are somewhat familiar to you, but I still think the numbers are pretty shocking. So we're going to go over that first. Let's see, what else will we do after that? We're going to look at I call it humorous things that you can do for bacterial infections. This is the conventional advice for how you can treat or manage your situation. It's about as dumbed down as you can get. Some of the problems within that as well, we're going to cover that. But then we're going to have some fun talking about, let's see here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Definitely have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I got about 6 main bacterial infection busters, if you will, ways to avoid really getting your health threatened by these bacteria, these bad buggies. And also I'm going to give you 6 others as far as a bonus round, if you will, of things that we can look into if you're ever having to deal with a bacterial infection. But I don't want you to be worried, The main thing is I'm saying that when most people, sadly, they get hit with something, blindsided, if you will. And now it's like, oh my God, it's the 11th hour. I have to go figure out what to do. Most of it is very disempowering information. Definitely keeps that fear going inside of most people who are not well educated about how to take better care of themselves, and certainly not, better educated about how to get themselves out of the woods, out of the danger zone. And so they're left really feeling lost, confused, scared, worried about their health. I mean, if it's a little something, I get it. No big deal. But when something really serious comes up, man, most people are not ready. You know what I mean. That's why you always hear from me with all these shows. We're going to get started, by the way, in a little less than 4 minutes from now. We're going to get started with the Natural Health 365 live show. That's why you always hear from me so much about how, let me just clean this off here, and we're going to get Instagram ready to go. You always hear from me that if you find this information useful, I want you to definitely make sure you ask somebody who's really new to this info. They don't really get the chance to hear any of this stuff. You really got to get this in front of them, because God forbid that day comes when they're really in a bind and they don't know what to do, and they just go to the search engines. They don't realize how so much of what they see has been manufactured and engineered for them. It's controlled for them. They don't get an opportunity to really see the variety of things that are out there for somebody to do that would really be helpful. Hey, Instagram, thanks for joining us. We've got, right now, we've got YouTube going, we've got Facebook going, and we've got Instagram going. So I try to produce these shows every single day to really help you with the kind of information that you're not hearing in the mainstream media, that's for sure. They're so busy now, of course, with the Republican National Convention. It's like the only thing they're going to talk about. And then, of course, the protesters in different cities, and it's like as if that's it. Meanwhile, there's hundreds of thousands of people conservatively that are dealing with heart disease, cancer, all kinds of infections. You're going to hear the numbers. It's going to blow you away. Nothing. Heck, there's not even anything about exercise at all. Anything that's healthy on the news, they don't broadcast it at all. We got about 2 minutes to go before the start of the show. I just want to spend this last minute or so thanking all of you again. Because like I said to you before, I read every comment that's coming through. And you guys are just amazing. The support that you've given really matters. It really does help. It inspires me to keep going. So we're going to keep doing this and hopefully help a few people along the way, 1 second. Hey, I hope a bunch of you like the music. We brought it back. We did this new format. I was talking for the first 10 minutes before the show started, but there was no music. So we had people say, hey, where's the music? Bring it back. I like it. So I hope you enjoy it. We got about touch over 1 minute to go, and then we're going to get started with the show. Get your friends and family around. Spread the word. Let them at least know about it. Maybe they're busy now, but eventually they'll tune in and they'll get some good information along the way, By the way, not that I mention it too much during the show, but bacterial infections, a lot of times if you're dehydrated, I was just drinking some water here, getting some good clean water into you throughout the day, so important just to keep, urinating, keep the stuff flowing, literally, in and out of you. Because if you're dehydrated, you're definitely going to be more apt to be at a higher risk for bacterial infections that are going to hurt you. So avoid dehydration. Drink good, clean water. Start making it a habit, even if it's a little bit more than what you're used to. It's worth it, Here we go. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Jonathan Landsman, your host for Natural Health 365 Live. Welcome. We do this show every single day, Monday to Friday, at 12 noon Eastern Time. Each one of these shows is designed to help you improve your immune system function, which will automatically protect your health. If you find this show interesting or informative, please do me a big favor. I only ask you to do one thing. Share it with at least one other person, a friend or a family member that you love. Get this information out to them. Tag them, send them an email, put a comment down below. Let us know what you think. And also, if you want to hear any other particular types of shows, give us your ideas in the comment section. We really do appreciate it. And if you're new, do us a big favor and type new in the comment section so we can be sure to locate you and give you a nice big warm welcome. We appreciate you. And thanks a lot again for your support. Okay, so today we're talking about bacterial infections and solutions, right? I was saying before in the pre-show, a lot of times when you look up a health issue, like, oh my God, I have this thing. What do I do? On the internet, most of the conventional sites will tell you in great detail, blah, blah, blah. This is what it is. This is how you spell it. This is how you say it. Here's all the symptoms. This is how you feel. This is how many people have it. It's just on and on with the kind of information that never really helps you in the end. It's the direct opposite we're going to do today. Bacterial infection, oh my God, what do you do? Stay calm, stay focused, and we're going to cover some solutions today. We're looking at, in the U.S. alone, over 2 million infection cases come up. Over 2 million. And due to antibiotic resistance, over 20,000 deaths a year. That's crazy. Most of the sites that you look up, by the way, they say it's over 23,000 that actually die because of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Worldwide, they say that number right now is 700,000 people die because of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. So this is no small thing, right? It's a big deal. So first, let's look at the problem, right? Again, like what they do conventionally, but just hear me out, and we're going to move to solutions fairly quickly. There are many types of infections, right? There's food poisoning, like E. coli, salmonella. I'm sure you're familiar with these terms. There's pneumonia, respiratory tract infections. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to COVID, what did they say is one of the biggest risk factors for you if you happen to get this coronavirus in you, right? You're supposed to be very concerned. When? Yes, obesity, blood pressure issues, diabetic, blood sugar problems. But if you are already predisposed to having respiratory problems, allergies, asthma, these respiratory tract infections, if you've had pneumonia in the past, especially recently, yeah, those people are going to be seriously affected by a virus that affects the respiratory system. You're at a much higher risk of getting hurt if something else is added to the equation. It's common sense. But there's also things like meningitis, urinary tract infections, and sexually transmitted diseases like gonorrhea and syphilis. These are all like different infections, right? To say the least, these several. Conventionally speaking, the cure, which I'm putting that in quotes because according to Western medicine, there's no real cure, right? The language you need to be clear about is their attitude is treat, manage, and treat. You got something, we'll treat it. If you don't have something, for the most part, Western medicine is not particularly interested in you at all. And that's not a put down, it's just a fact. The healthcare system in the United States, it's such a wrong term. It's a sick care system. If you get sick, this is what we will do with you. And it's a cookie cutter type response. no matter who you are, no matter what your skin color is, no matter how old you are, no matter how much money you have, none of that matters. If they label you with a certain health condition, you get treated one way. Doesn't matter anything else. They don't look at anything else about your health history. Nothing else matters. That you ate organic food or you didn't eat organic food, that you want a more natural approach or you don't care. None of it matters. They're only going to offer you one path for each. Like cancer, boom. Heart disease, we got to do this. Diabetes, we got to give you these drugs. High cholesterol, high blood pressure, we got to give you this. If it's an infection, depending on what the infection is, boom, you get this kind of antibiotic. Based on what kind of infection you have, boom, that's it. It's not open for discussion. So the other things that they tell you, if you go look on the internet, they're going to tell you the most really basic, disempowering things, except perhaps, I suppose, the first one. Wash your hands and clean objects. Okay, that's good, but that's about it. Then stay away from sick people. Okay, what am I going to do, though, still to really help protect myself? Should I just stay away from all people all the time? That would probably be the best bet, right? Take antibiotics, because again, back to what I was just saying, sick people. What if you don't know someone's really sick? They're carrying something around, they give it to you. Oh my God, you have to be afraid of people all the time for the rest of your life. It's a crazy instruction. Take antibiotics. Of course, they tell you that as well. Even though I just finished telling you that a major part of our problem today in today's society is antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Too many antibiotics being taken, too much out there in the world that we're being exposed to that is making these super bugs that we can't beat with antibiotics. But millions and millions are still dispensed just about like candy. Take antibiotics. That's their advice. There is no focus at all on boosting immunity. If you look up any of these sites, of course, top 2 pages of any search engine, you look up, what do I do for bacterial infections? Just punch in anything, pneumonia, whatever. There's nothing about boosting your immunity to help you through this at all. It's pretty much just what I told you about bacterial infections. This is the advice you get depending on whatever site you're looking at. CDC type thing, FDA, Mayo Clinic, it doesn't matter. Harvard, Yale, Princeton, universities, hospitals. If you go to their websites to look up stuff, they're going to give you all the same thing. It's a cookie cutter answer. But here's the problem. With taking antibiotics, when you take them, you are absolutely increasing your risk for antibiotic-resistant bacteria. Even one dose, one course of antibiotics. Not only from taking the antibiotics, though, but the antibiotic usage can lead to, and here's the really big issue of what it develops in you, is irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, colitis, Crohn's disease. Of course, there's all web pages on that as well. They'll list all the problems with it. They'll tell you how many people are suffering. Millions of people have trouble in their gut. But they don't say anything about, you know what? Taking these antibiotics, that's really it. But it is definitely linked. Just one course can do it. It can completely mess up your gut microbiome. And please keep in mind, your gut has lots of bacteria in it. Some good, some bad. The good always wins over the bad, but you need the bad buggies just as much as you need the good ones. Don't take this sort of, Western, maybe gunslinger attitude. I don't know how to put it to you, where you have to just go kill everything that's bad. Or, quite frankly, a Western medicine attitude, right? Like with cancer cells and everything else, it's pretty much that same attitude. get in there, cut it out, burn it, poison it, right? Get some drugs in there to kill antibiotics, to kill the bacteria. Kill, kill, kill. Cut out, burn, burn, burn. But they never look at the inner terrain. What's creating an environment for dis-ease? That's not in their thinking process. So what are antibiotics not for? Now, conventionally speaking, at least they make this very clear. I don't know how much people really understand this, because how many people are really looking deeper on these websites for what they clearly tell people antibiotics should not be used for. This is according to the Mayo Clinic. It's about as conventional as you can get. They're not for colds, flu, influenza, bronchitis, most coughs, some ear infections, sinus infections, and stomach flu. So the next time you're going to the doctor and, you know what, I think I have a cold or a flu, or you're just coughing, right? Which, of course, these days, if anybody coughs or sneezes, it's like, oh, COVID, right? It gets trigger people off. But antibiotics are not to be used for people who really suffer with those issues. That's not what you're supposed to use them for. So let's look at some of the home remedies for bacterial infections. Now, keep in mind, one of the first things I want to get out of the way is this idea of people taking too many antibiotics for too many different things, because the doctors have for many years been giving them out too freely for too mmany things. In fact, to be honest with you, I know the reports are clear about COVID, hydroxychloroquine, a Z-Pak, an antibiotic type treatment with zinc. But most of the docs I've talked to where they say those three are very effective, they say it's really the zinc that's stopping the virus from spreading. But, what is that for in terms of really needing antibiotics? They'll tell you it's for secondary type infections, but the reality is, in most cases, they're saying antibiotics should not be used for that. There's so many other things you can do. Quercetin, vitamin C, vitamin D, the zinc. The list goes on and on. Nebulizing with hydrogen peroxide. So many things you can do naturally to really zap out any kind of infection that might be brewing inside of you, just to calm your systems down. But remember I said to you, it's taking the antibiotics is one thing, but also we're being exposed to it in so much of the conventional meat supply as well. So many of the animals that are raised in very sick environments are then having to take antibiotics to stay well. And antibiotics are used in a very big way through modern agricultural practices. So one of the best things in general that you can do is if you're going to eat, hamburger, steak, chicken, turkey, you name it, the animal products, really lean into 100% grass-fed. I've said this many, many times before. The farms, they don't pay me any money, but U.S. Wellness Meats, good company, and Joel Salatin out of Virginia, he has Polyface Farms. They ship anywhere throughout the U.S., but if you're outside the U.S., Canada, you're in Europe right now listening, wherever you are, go local. If you don't want to pay the shipping or you don't want to go through that whole ordering online from far away, I get it. Go local. Even if you have to drive a little bit once a week to pick up some things that you can put into the freezer, find a local, high-quality farmer that is not feeding their animals genetically engineered foods, genetically modified feed that isn't even naturally meant for the animal. These animals, you find them, they're grazing most of the time outside. They live a very happy, healthy life, and it's 100% grass finished from beginning to end. A lot of times, grass-fed could mean Well, they feed the animals a little bit, but then towards the end of their life, they're eating crap, right, to beef them up a little bit more so they gain more weight. So you got to be careful. The bottom line is it comes down to a source. Get a good local farm source. It will make a huge difference in your health and will certainly reduce your risk of bacterial infections. But no, the Mayo Clinic's not going to talk about it. Cleveland Clinic, most of these conventional sites, they're never going to talk about food. But the other things that we want to get into a little bit more detail is, number one, take probiotics. Now, keep in mind, the antibiotics really decimate the health of your gut. You want to build that up again. Repopulate it, if you will, with a good, healthy mix of bacteria, good and bad. When that's going on, you've got a very vibrant, lively, healthy community. You're in good shape. Antibiotics on their own, swallowing those all the time for everything, you've got a really unhealthy gut, which is going to really diminish your ability to fight things off, right? So the idea is very simple. With probiotics, it's been shown time and again that will absolutely reduce your risk of colds and a flu. When you build up your gut with healthy balance of bacteria, you're going to absolutely improve your immune system. You will see it. You know, it's a funny thing. There's nothing, I often say this term, it's not sexy. But boy, is it exciting, right? Because what happens is when your immune system is stronger and you look back over 6 months or 9 months or a year, that's when it actually starts to hit you. You're like, you know what? I've been doing some pretty good things lately, taking probiotics. We're going to talk about probiotic-rich foods in a moment. I've been living a healthier lifestyle, been hydrating, drinking more water, good, clean water, you know, just living the good, healthy life. And you know what? I do notice I haven't been sick. No news is good news. Even when people around you don't feel well, you won't even catch what they have. Because again, you're not subscribing to the germ theory, which is what everyone is crazy about today. Oh no, someone could be infested. And if they breathe in my direction, I'm screwed. You know what I'm saying? They're a big threat to my life. No, it's not the germ. It's your inner terrain. If you're putting alcohol, cigarette smoke, fast food, sugary desserts, chewing on dessert all the time, and bubble gum, and artificial sweeteners, and Diet Cokes, and taking medication every chance you get when you have a certain scratchy throat or a cough or whatever it might be, trouble sleeping at night, and you take NyQuil. I mean, seriously, I've heard people say that. Oh, that stuff helps me go to sleep, so I swig it down. Taking all of this garbage makes your insides garbage and increases your risk for bacterial infection problems. Okay, so eat probiotic-rich foods. Yogurt with active cultures, not the yogurt you get at a deli that's like commercial, pasteurized, heated up, heavily processed. Can I be honest with you? That's like just a liquidy thing in a cup with a whole bunch of sugar. Not good for your immune system at all. It's not going to do much of anything good for your gut. You can be sure. Even though they like you to believe, oh, all yogurt is healthy for you. It's not. The commercial brands are way too sugary and total garbage. So live active cultures, sauerkraut is great. If you can make your own, come on. Just go to the internet, Dr. Google. Not that, Google needs any plug from me, but you know what I mean. Go on any of the search engines and look up how to make sauerkraut out of organic cabbage. Get some sea salt. You're going to be good to go. Make your own fresh sauerkraut. Miso soup, because it's the miso paste, the fermented soybean paste, miso. that is so good for your insides. Obviously, sour pickles, kimchi. You might know kimchi as pickled cabbage, right? Tempeh, and also natto, N-A-T-T-O. But a big warning, I'm laughing because that stuff is nasty. In the East, Eastern cultures, Japanese, natto, hey, no problem. It's like donuts here in the United States. They're cool with it. In the United States, most Americans, let's put it this way, natto is an acquired taste. Smells horrible and tastes just as bad. So it's a great, healthy thing, but kind of hard to have. So the tempeh is good. Be sure, though, when you're buying a lot of these products like the miso that I was talking about, the tempeh, obviously make sure that it's organic, non-GMO, because soy crops, they are genetically engineered if they are not labeled as certified organic, non-GMO products, not genetically modified organisms. Stay away from those, okay? Number 2, use aloe vera. Increases the circulation to your skin. Aloe vera does. The blood, the skin blood vessels. Kills bad bacteria. Increases the wound healing time. It accelerates it. You can apply aloe vera right to the skin, right? From the plant. It's just kind of like that gooey stuff that comes out of the plant. Just put it right on an infection that you might have. Or you might want to drink a quarter cup of it. And they have, good quality aloe vera juices that you can get. And just kind of drink that down for the inside. That's another great one. Number 3 is turmeric. We hear this a lot. Turmeric is very helpful. It's a great antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. You can mix the ground turmeric, right, the powder, with a little bit of water, make it into a paste, and then you can apply that to the skin, right? Or you can drink a quarter cup of that with some water. This is really good for respiratory issues. Let's put it that way. So turmeric might be something you want to start adding into your diet any way that you can. Number 4, got apple cider vinegar. It's another good one. Not too hard to take the taste of that if you've never had it before. It may take a little getting used to, but it's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory properties. Many of the properties are in apple cider vinegar. Use unfiltered and unpasteurized apple cider vinegar, okay? You can put it right on the skin as well. Little cotton ball, just soak the cotton ball and then boom, just put it right on the skin if you like. You let it sit there for a few minutes and then just, wipe that off. And, 1 or 2 times a day is good till you feel better. Or internally, you can mix the about 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar with a few drops of honey, just a little bit. Don't want to go crazy with the honey and the sugar, but just a little bit. And 1 cup of lukewarm water, and just kind of stir that around and drink down a whole 8 ounces like that a couple times a day. Very good for the inside of your body to sort of knock down that load and bring you back to health. So you may want to try that out. Number 5 is tea tree oil. That's antibacterial, antimicrobial. It's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, the whole thing. Never use it undiluted right on your skin. That's not really recommended, right? So you get a tea tree oil in the bottle, spill that out and put it right on the skin. Not a good idea. Don't do that. Just a few drops you could take, mix it with some coconut oil, that's heated and liquidy, and you can stir that around really well, or you can mix it with water and, rinse out an area that might feel infected. That's something you can do, whether it's inside the gum linings or on your skin itself, any of the affected areas that you have. Number 6, baking soda. Yep, that definitely helps you to regulate your pH, right? You know that in general, if you're more acidic, this is bad news for those that want to avoid the threat of bacterial infections. You don't want to be too acidic. So this helps you to balance it out by having the baking soda. You can drink half a teaspoon of the baking soda by putting that half a teaspoon into a whole cup of water 8 ounces of clean, pure water, or you can also apply a paste if you like as well. Same kind of thing that I said before about with the turmeric powder. You can do the same thing with baking soda and just a little bit of water, make it into a paste, and put it right over wounds. Very, very good. Some other bonus antibacterial foods that you may want to consider as we're closing things out today. And again, most docs are not going to talk to you about this. And I'll be honest with you, if you don't have a doctor that you feel comfortable that you can talk to about these things, then like I've said many times before, it's really important that you get rid of that doctor and find a doctor that really is in favor of all these things, if this is what you're interested in. Look, if you just want to take the antibiotics and nothing else, and you don't want to think about any of this, you don't want to do any of your own research, then you know what? None of this information matters to that kind of a person. But I doubt that's you if you're listening this far. So if you're not comfortable with the doctor that you have, I'm telling you now, before it's too late, before you really have a serious health problem, change that doctor now. I have a great doctor who I, of course, also consider, you've heard it many times, I've talked about him. He's a very close friend of mine. It's a great combination. Someone that knows you really well over years. So that's why I say, if you don't feel like you have that doctor now, change. Just change. Because you never know when it's going to be the most important decision you ever made. You want to have your doctor or a health coach or your closest friends, your family. Why do you think I tell you to share this info before we get to some of these other food tips that I'm going to give you that are antibacterial? Why do you think I always tell you share this info with the people closest to you, around you? Because if they're all not on the same page with you and not really into this kind of stuff, when push comes to shove, God forbid something really serious happens to your health, what do you think's going to happen? Western medicine is just going to take over, pump the drugs into you, hope for the best, and maybe, just maybe, that's not what you want to see happen. That's why it's important to sort of round the wagons, right? Get the wagons all together around you, all thinking in very similar ways. Everybody has their different points of view, that's fine, but you know what I mean in terms of that desire to be more of a natural advocate, natural health advocate. So some of the other things that you can include are like raw garlic. Don't overlook it. I know it's a tough one to have sometimes because if you're close to people, you smell like raw garlic. But wow, for the insides of your body, it's a real knockout punch in a good way. 3 to 6 cloves of that a day. Or if that's too rough for you with the smell, they have garlic capsules as well. You can get them. But raw garlic is really powerful antibacterial substance that's never going to hurt you. Right? I mean, strong flavor and all, yeah, strong taste. But it's not going to hurt you like taking too many antibiotics is going to destroy your gut health. Okay? Organic coconut oil, really good as well. If you're not using it, start playing around with it now. Get it into some smoothies. Do it in some of your cooking. Even take some of that oil and apply it to your skin at night. Just rub some in or in the morning. Start using organic coconut oil. Really healthy to do that. Fresh ginger, a slice. Just cut off like a 1-inch slice, something really small. Or you can make like a ginger tea and have that at night. Start getting a cup into you each day. That or peppermint, but ginger is really big. And you can add lemon if you like. Squeeze a little organic lemon in there for some flavor. Spice it up a little bit. Really powerful for being antibacterial. Lemon itself is really great, like lemon water. Take, say, half a lemon or even a whole lemon, depending on the size of it. Cut it, squeeze all the juice in there, mix it in with nice, pure, clean water, 8-10 ounces. of water, half a lemon to a whole lemon if it's not that big. Squeeze it all in there, stir it around, and drink it down in the morning. Wow. Talk about 1 or 2 minutes. That puts you way ahead of the game in terms of being more in the right balance and antibacterial in your lifestyle. Super healthy to do. Hydrogen peroxide, got to look it up, how to dilute it, how to use it. It's a little, I could probably do a whole show on hydrogen peroxide alone, but I'm just throwing out these ideas to you. When you're dealing with some sort of infection, especially if it's serious, and you've got brain fog issues, chronic fatigue, you're really hurting, you're going to want to look at probably a few of these therapies. I'm not trying to suggest to you that if you have a serious health issue, hey, drink some lemon water and everything will be all right. Don't make it that superficial or simplistic. But a lot of these ideas, as you start building them into your life, you'll see overall they're big-time preventative. The problem is most people don't like to take preventative steps. I'm hoping this will motivate you to start adding some more things into your life because, again, when you look back over time, your body is going to thank you day after day. And for me, that's worth it. Of course, I'll finish up with ozone therapy. That's another thing as well you might want to look into. It's not readily available for every single person. I'm hoping as it gets more popular, we'll see that therapy so much more. But it is great for infections, systemic infections. Ozone therapy is like, think of it as like Star Wars. You're just getting the Jedi warriors in there and just zoom, just zapping it out, blasting it away and knocking down the load and really helping you with your health. So that would be it. Obviously, my last note to all of you would be, again, if you've got a serious infection, it's not a game to take lightly. Make sure you're working with a really good, qualified, experienced, integrative healthcare provider. Those are true doctors out there who understand the Western medicine world and pharmacology, but they also understand the natural world, the foods, the supplements, the herbs, the spices, some of these natural therapies, hydrogen peroxide, ozone therapy, light therapy. It goes on and on. There's a big list of other therapies that you can bring in. The value of massage, the value of exercise. But if a doctor is not comfortable in talking to you a little bit about their own personal experience and what they know as a physician in helping others, if they don't have that arsenal of things there, I don't know. I would question whether that person is fit to be someone close to you and in charge of helping you out to guide you with your health issues. I would really question that if I were you. So my question of the day, how do you prevent infections? Let us know. Is it A, and I'm being a little silly with this one, but hey, maybe if this is it for you, put it down. Washing hands and cleaning surface areas and objects. That's the way you prevent infections. Or B, antibiotic-free diet. An organic, clean, healthy diet is B. C, some herbal supplements. Maybe you want to list something that I may have missed or not mentioned for this show today. Or D, other. You could certainly fill in the blanks and say whatever you like in terms of the way you live a very anti-infectious lifestyle. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do me a big favor. If you did get value out of this and there's good info, do me a big favor, do someone else a big favor, and share this program with someone that you love. Email it to them, tag them, share it in social media, whatever you can do. I'm sure they would appreciate it, and of course, I appreciate it as well. And that's it for today. Just as a reminder, the Natural Health 365 live show, we do this show every single day, Monday to Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. All of these shows are really designed to help you improve your immune system function. which will automatically protect your health. Thank you very much for joining us today. I appreciate it, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Take care, everybody.